The experience of applying to Kearney, I would say I did not expect it honestly, because the general consensus amongst the batch and amongst other campuses is that Kearney prefers people with work-ex and generally operations kind of roles, both of which I did not fit in at all. Before the case started, I was pretty much disappointed with the direction in which I was going. And I was like, okay, probably this is not going to work out. So I was born in Delhi, brought up mostly in Noida and Hyderabad. I have done my schooling mostly from DPS Noida, where I graduated in the commerce stream. Then I joined the IPM program at IIM Indore, mainly because I was pretty much sure by the end of 12th that I want to pursue MBA in the future. And the IPM program basically involves an undergrad of 3 years, which is BA Foundations in Management, and then the 2 years of MBA, which we then merge with the PGP batch itself. These 5 years of journey have been pretty daunting, I would say. There were lots of ups and downs because I would be honest, the IPM program is not as easy. There is a lot of academic rigor involved, but then it also gives you a lot of opportunities, not just inside but outside the classroom as well. So in the classroom, there are a diverse set of subjects, right from anything related to accounts and finance, all the way to HR and quants, etc. And outside the classroom, there are a lot of opportunities you get. There are a lot of clubs like the consulting club, the finance clubs, investment clubs that you can join, as well as many committees like infrastructure committees and academic committees for you to pursue your hobbies like dance, table tennis. This campus offers you almost everything. I started getting a bit serious about my placements in the middle of my third year. So I started reaching out to the seniors in the fifth year who had just got done with their summer internships to understand what kind of companies are coming to campus, what kind of roles are offered, and basically what kind of work they have done in the internship over the 2 months, to get a basic understanding of what happens actually in a corporate internship. I also got my profiles vetted, what I have done to understand where I would fit in best. I kind of understood that consulting or finance is the best fit for me. But I really like consulting, so consulting was my first preference, basically because I was really intrigued by the kind of stuff that consultants do. So the projects can range anywhere from, let's say, organizational redesign to profitability increase, and anything from, let's say, a retail client to an energy client. So I believe that the kind of exposure that I would get here. I would start with whether I was scared. So I was not scared in the sense that I am an IPMO, so I might get less opportunities as compared to PGPs. But I was definitely scared in the sense that people with work-ex generally gain better exposures and they get better shortlists and more number of shortlists as compared to fresher. Especially I've heard that is the case with consulting as well. So I was, I would say, a bit skeptical at that point whether I would get good shortlists or not. Kearney was actually one of the first shortlists to come to campus. So there were not a lot of other companies that I filled in before that. There were a few consulting like BCG that were there, but pretty much one of the first were Kearney. So there were not a lot of processes that I had to be a part of. The experience of applying to Kearney, I would say I did not expect it honestly, because the general consensus amongst the batch and amongst other campuses is that Kearney prefers people with work-ex and generally operations kind of roles, both of which I did not fit in at all. So I did not expect it, but when I got it, I would say I was pretty much surprised. It was unexpected, but yeah, very exciting as well. And we had 1 month to prepare, approximately 3 weeks to 1 month to prepare, and I just got to it. Selection process was, if not exactly, I would say almost 90% the same. So the shortlists, we submitted our resumes and then the shortlists were announced. And then we were given approximately 3 weeks to prepare till our interviews. And in that 3 weeks time, there were a number of activities organized from Kearney's side as well. So in our case, we were all allotted some buddies which were from Kearney, which were mostly associates or SBAs or BAs working in the firm currently. We could reach out to them informally as well regarding the entire process, regarding our preparations, preparing for the interviews, preparing for cases. So they were very helpful throughout, and their feedback in the interviews was also very helpful in improving myself from day one till the interview day, and they were through us in the entire process. So then there was the final interview phase, which was, in my case, there were 2 interviews. The first was with the principal, and then it was with the partner. Interviews mostly revolve around cases, again, like any other consulting firm. And the cases were, I would say, pretty flexible, I would say, in the sense that basically, if you apply the basic frameworks, it would not work. You need to apply that second order thinking. And then my partner interview was less about cases and more about the general industry awareness, and also a few of the culture fit questions, I would say the HR questions, and a bit about GK in the sense the current affairs, but my opinions on the news, which would basically involve them understanding how I think logically, how I apply my analytical skills to the basic arguments that are presented in the news. So that is what I believe they were testing there. So the one moment that I felt that my interview was going haywire was in my first interview with the principal. So the interview started off as a run-through of my resume, and the principal was basically, I felt at that moment, was not satisfied with my answers, and I was getting questions like, do you even want to be in consulting or not, because it does not look like from your introduction and all. I would say the interview did not get off to a very good start, I felt at that moment, because of the kind of responses I was getting back from the principal. And then the case started. Before the case started, I was pretty much disappointed with the direction in which I was going. And I was like, okay, probably this is not going to work out. But it was a do or die situation at that point. I put those thoughts aside. I was like, okay, time to focus on the case now. Yeah, once that started, the case went pretty smoothly, I would say. I was able to break down the problem, and it is only at the end of the interview that the principal responded to me like, okay, I put you in a pretty tough situation there. I was harsh with you, but you bore well through it, and he was pretty impressed with that. When I first got to know about the internship, it was right after my partner interview. So at the end of the partner interview, the partner said to me that, okay, I'm extending an offer to you to intern with us. And that was, I would say, one of my happiest moments in my campus life. I was thoroughly excited because this was a dream company for me. It was a dream role, something that I had wanted for, I would say, more than a year. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was not able to believe it for the first 2-3 days at least, I would say. So the 3 things that Kearney, I believe, is mostly looking for when hiring an intern from a B school is that, first of all, the person should have the analytical skills. By that I mean that if any problem is presented to the person, then they should be able to use logical-based approach and data-backed approach to come up with helpful solutions and logical solutions. The second would be a person should be able to take ownership of their work. When you join into the firm, it is expected that any project or any work piece that is given to you, you are able to lead it on your own. Again, there would always be people to help you throughout the process, but there would be no one to, and they would not be expected to handhold you. So anything that you take up, you should be responsible for it, and you should be capable enough to execute the project end to end. And the third thing would be definitely communication skills and the confidence. So any work that you undertake, you have to present it to your team, and you have to present it to the clients in a very concise, logical manner. Alright, so my piece of advice for anyone who is not sure which domain they want to go in, especially if the person is in the first year of MBA, consulting can give you is probably not something that you can get anywhere else. There may be cases that you may not like it, so those 2 months are there for you to experiment. And this is something that the seniors at Kearney were repeatedly telling us right from the day of the orientation, that these 2 months are not just for us to test you whether you are a good fit for the company, but it is also for you guys to know whether you think consulting is a good fit for you and whether you think Kearney is a good fit for you. So I think that is one of the best advices that I got and that I can pass on, is that give it a try.